Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. It's great to be here. It's great to have you here. And, today in Orlando, it's a little overcast. It's a little bit chilly, too. It's only going to be 73. So that's pretty comfortable, actually. That's pretty close to perfect if the sun's shining and there's no wind. And I don't think there will be any wind today, although, I haven't really looked at the weather. So we'll see what happens. So today we've got a lot to go over. I was going to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde, which just went retrograde yesterday. And I was going to discuss what's going on in the sky, and then we'll do a little Neptune mythology. And so let's get started. Okay, so as you know, I do a natural chart for this, what's going on in the sky today, and so I just switched over because I just felt it would probably be more relevant to most people if I did that. And so in the sky today, we have Uranus at 20 retrograde in direct opposition to Jupiter at 19 Libra. So Jupiter opposing Uranus is going to mean that we're having a standoff between the ideology of relationships and cooperation and independence. So pretty much Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is going to give us that feeling that we want to be our own person. We come into this world, we express ourselves through the first house, we take action, we throw tantrums, we move forward and have a drive. And Uranus is in the last 6 days of being retrograde. So he goes direct on the 26th. I'm going to double check that because I think earlier I was saying the 20th, but I was confused because of my ephemeris. I think I wasn't paying closer attention. So he actually, hang on, today we have Mars in Pisces. I think he went in yesterday actually. But where is it? Hang on a second. I'm not, I've got a funny little setup because I'm kind of wedged in here between the coffee table and the computer screen, and the chair I have is quite big, so it doesn't sit properly. And it's way on the far right of this giant screen, so I'm trying to get comfortable. I think I'm on the wrong side. You know what? I think I'm going to move a little bit. If you'll have patience with me for just a moment, I'm going to move into the couch because I'm not used to sitting in that angle, and it's making it difficult. Okay, there we go. Now, it's a right-handed thing, I think. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? December. Uranus in December. I'm sorry, I'm just dragging you along on this journey here. 29th, it'll be direct. And that's not the exact day again. I don't have the exact time he goes direct. I can just tell you through the tables that it's the 29th he will be direct. So that means that in the last week he is culminating some of the energy of the past of feeling probably a lot of stress. And that means wherever we feel stress in our lives, that is around doing our own thing and expressing ourselves in a free manner. That's what this energy is. That's where you'll find Uranus and Aries. So Uranus and Aries is in my house of creativity. So definitely I feel a little frustrated that every time I want to go do something creative, I can't seem to bring myself to do it, or other things come up with the holidays, or we just get that energy where it's not going the way we would have it go, and so it's uncomfortable. It's just out of alignment with our drive and our natures right now. So, and then at the other side of it, Jupiter is in Libra, so it's about having cooperation on some level, but it's also Jupiter about having the energy of what you would like to do within a relationship, and you're being thwarted. So if you're having stress in your relationships right now, that's probably where it's coming from, is that you want to do one thing and your partner wants to do something else, and you can't seem to see eye to eye to make it cooperative. And that's why right now is probably a prime time for relationships to break up, because they get so utterly frustrated at not getting their needs met, each person, that the ones that are not going to make it, the ones that are not in better alignment through other planetary positions, they're probably going to fall by the wayside at this time. So Jupiter in Libra, he is also in sextile to Saturn, which means that there is this, especially because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, the sign Saturn's in, he's going to want more freedom. He wants to move about and go do his own thing and be adventurous. And the frustration with Jupiter in Libra is that Libra is based on cooperation. It's based on balance of two people, but Jupiter is not really good with that balance. He has to learn it, or he has to basically accept it. Doesn't mean he has to like it, but he has to understand that it's part of the nature of relationships. And as a person who has had a few Sagittarius relationships in her life, if you want something that's going to stick around and be stable, Sagittarius is not the energy for partnership necessarily. Are in cooperation and find a way to express that energy, which would be travel and adventure, and do that together, in which case that would satiate the energy of Sagittarius. So that's also what we're being called to do right now, is find the adventure and play more playfulness in relationships and partnership. So let's see, Moon is at 23 Virgo in conjunct to Uranus. So again, the Moon in Virgo is very meticulous, very much about taking our time, thinking it through, being reasonable, and in conjunct to Uranus in Aries, which means that the Aries energy just wants to go ahead headlong and do it. And granted, I feel that. I so want to move forward with some business endeavors that are very creative, which is where that energy is falling. It also falls into my house of work. So I have that. I have that really strongly in my chart. So it's like you've got details you have to tend to, and then you have that drive to just go and do it and get it done and not worry about the details. But the details are going to enhance the ultimate outcome. And so at least until later tonight, when the moon goes into Libra, we need to pay attention to the details. At the same time, the moon is in trine to Pluto and Mercury conjunct in Capricorn. And so if you also have a Taurus energy, then you'll have a grand trine with the Earth. So that means you're going to be able to get a lot more of the details of life, you know, the material details, the pragmatic appointment setting, paperwork details of life. Those will get done. And probably not until after Christmas are we going to really get going on those business endeavors and the things that we really want to do that are more entrepreneurial. Let's see, we have Saturn and the Sun are conjunct today. Well, not conjunct. They're right next to each other on my chart, but they're not in numbers. So Saturn's at 20 and Sun is at 29. That means that today is the last day of that freewheeling, not needing to pay attention to the results of behavior. So whatever you want to do that you don't want to have any responsibility in the end for, get it done today, because tomorrow responsibility is coming knocking on your door. Sun goes into Capricorn, and then it is absolutely about the repercussions for what we've done. So, 29 degrees, it's just before it goes into a new sign. It's kind of like the culmination of, it's done, nothing's going to come from it. And then, boom, something happens. So will it actually mean that you'll have to deal with the fallout? I think what's going to happen if you do something today that you don't want to get caught for or called on, you might have it pointed out, but I don't know ultimately that it's going to be enough to, put you away in jail, so to speak. But that doesn't mean go out and do anything illegal. It just means that what you do today in adventure, actually it also means that I would say if you're going for a trip, it may not come to fruition because Sagittarius is about long distance travel. And by the way, the whole country seems to be frozen up at the airports. Jupiter energy, Sagittarius energy, Saturn in Sagittarius, and then the sun is also squaring. So, the moon. The moon in Virgo is squaring all this Sagittarius energy today. So it's probably the last day that everybody's going to be frustrated with what's going on travel-wise. And then tomorrow we'll have cooperation. Things will start to move again. And by the way, the moon goes into Libra, which is an air sign. So it is not only balance and cooperation, but it's air. So that means the travel in the air can get going again, and it's in more cooperation with Sagittarius energy. So by the day after tomorrow, things should be cleared up a lot more than they have been this week so far. Okay, so the sun goes into Capricorn tomorrow. And yesterday was the 20th. Oh, and it's 11:11 a.m. where I'm at, so make a wish. Let's see. So Mercury, and back up. I say make a wish because 11:11 represents the angels are listening, so that's why I say that. Anyway, Mercury is retrograde now at 15 degrees, and so he's in square and approaching square to Jupiter. Actually, no, I take it back because he's going retrograde. That means he's already past the square. So Jupiter's at 19. He's already moving away from that degree at 15. So he's still technically by orb, which means a range of degrees in the sky, so by within 8 degrees, but he's not an exact square to Jupiter. So he's pretty much past having to answer to some of the issues around relationships, although Uranus is not. So there's still some authoritarian freedom things, but there's more ability to manifest what you truly want coming as Jupiter moves away from that square. Okay, Mercury retrograde. Yeah. So I wrote down a bunch of words so that a list of words that are associated with this energy. So it kind of gives you an idea. And so Mercury itself is about transportation, communications, electronics, appliances, siblings, neighbors, doublespeak or duplicity, phones, radio, weather, teachers. It can be about healing because it does rule the house of healing and health, and it can be about work, the work environment, and contracts. I think I said contracts. So Capricorn is about the cold. It can be about fear, restriction, material world, tangibility of things, the tangible world. England, believe it or not, I started associating Capricorn with England because I really think that there's a strong connection based on some other astrological transits that England really responds to the Capricorn energy. So I wouldn't be surprised if England ends up in the news again, and possibly about Brexit because we're going backwards retrograde, and the Brexit issue was, the large media news story, and now we have Mercury retrograde, so we're going back over the old stories. Responsibility, leadership, authority, authoritarianism, the physical body, bones, and the skeleton, and you might have joint issues also with this energy. So I find it really interesting. I just realized that when the weather gets cold, we feel it, quote, in our bones because the cold comes with Capricorn for sure. Capricorn is in winter. And you can see we had Mercury in Capricorn. The sun's about to go into Capricorn. I'm in Florida. It was 86 degrees, I think, yesterday. And then the cold weather moved in. And now we've got, a dip by about 10 degrees in the temperature. So it brings the cold. That's just part of Capricorn energy. So weather, localized weather, can be affected by Mercury, and it can be affected by Uranus. And so when you have Mercury in Capricorn, you're going to feel the weather. When it retrogrades, you're going to get cold snaps. You're going to get looking back towards the old way it was. So if it was nice and it was cold and it got warm as it was just about to retrograde, then it got cold again, that's kind of what you see. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something too. Oh, yeah, the elderly. That's the one last thing I didn't put about Capricorn. It also rules the elderly. So I find it really interesting that this week we lost Zsa Zsa Gabor, who is 99, I think they said, and they also celebrated Kirk Douglas's birthday, and he's 100. So you see that energy coming out in the news stories too. So, okay, let's see, what else do we have? We've got, and Mercury. So anyway, let me finish up Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, it is about the weather. It's about transportation. It could be siblings. It is definitely computers and phones. I dropped a camera just before it went retrograde, and I would definitely protect your phones and get an extra case on them if you haven't gotten it. I don't have a case on mine, but the case that it comes with, this like little 5C or 5S, whatever it is, it drops countless times, and it seems to be okay. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be. My daughter was out at a fair this week and with a friend of hers, and it was in her pocket. Her friend's phone was in her pocket, and it fell down, and the screen was completely shattered. So that's the kind of energy we're into right now. So, yeah, I mean, I guess to know what Mercury retrograde does, just kind of look at your day-to-day mess-ups and slip-ups, and it's going to be in the physical world. It's going to be tangible material goods. So it's going to be, cars and refrigerators and stoves and lights and all the things that, are outliving their usefulness. They're ready to go, and that's what this energy is about. And then, of course, Mercury will go direct after the 8th of January, and he'll move back to this degree by the 29th of January, and then he's going to join up with Pluto. So what's going on is like a cognizant mental shift in energy as well, and we're feeling that there's some old dogma that we have to relive, and we have to kind of look at it again through the microscope and shuffle it around and see what we think of it. It's dogmas. So dogmas are belief systems that we have not, a belief system that we don't challenge generally. We come to conclusions, and then that's the principle we live by. Capricorn's very much about principles. As Mercury goes retrograde, we're going to be seeing shifts and changes and challenges to those dogma, to those principles. And by the time Mercury goes back direct, we'll have visited old ideas, old ways of thinking, and then now we're ready to move on. We may have had to shift some concrete structures, like I said, like contracts, and physical buildings and things like that can change now too. But I'm thinking that, I know there was a big earthquake this week. I can't remember where it was. It was like a 6.9 or a 7. I think it was 7 something. I just don't remember where it was. That can happen definitely with Mercury retrograde or any kind of Capricorn energy being challenged. And right now, of course, Pluto is in square to Jupiter, and also in an approaching square to Uranus. And then Uranus will retrograde or go from retrograde back direct, and then again start moving away from Pluto. So that will be weather. So of course on the 26th of December, 28th, 29th, definitely going to be some more weather, some more stress. And I know it happened last year. I remember it was very tumultuous with weather last year, and it's going to be that way again this year. But this is the time of year that, especially with the planets definitely being triggered in Capricorn, which is this time of year, you get the sun there in Capricorn, and Uranus is in square of Pluto and the Capricorn energy with anything transiting through there. So this year also Jupiter is transiting through Libra. Now, after the beginning of the year, Jupiter's going to go retrograde, and then he'll go back through all of Libra, I think pretty close to the beginning. I can tell you here in a real quick second. Let's see, Jupiter retrogrades all the way back to about 13 degrees, and then it goes direct in June. So I'll tell you real quick when he retrogrades, if I can find it quickly. I don't know if I can find it. There it is, February 6th. So we have another month, thankfully, because I think January is going to be a really good month for getting things done and moving forward since we have Uranus going direct. Then we have Venus in Aquarius, and she is sextile to Jupiter for the next few days. And so she is looking to new and unusual means of having relationships. She's looking to soul groups, finding her place in soul groups. So for you, wherever that is in your chart, you're looking for the people that agree with you, and you want that cooperation there. It can mean romance, but generally in Aquarius, she looks for unusual people. People march to their own drummer, and she also likes to march to her own drummer. She is more inclusive of people in her group, but maybe not as inclusive of others who have differing views, although generally she's a humanitarian, and that means that she wants everybody to get along because it's an air sign. Air sign is on some level about interpersonal, even though Aquarius is more of a transpersonal, meaning it deals with groups of people. Venus is a personal planet, so she wants to connect to people, but Aquarius wants to include everyone and not just one. So you're probably going to be doing more group activities as we approach the holidays, of course. That goes hand in hand. But let's see, Mars is at 0 degrees and 55 minutes of Pisces right now. So he is in a new energy. He is in the Piscean energy, just left Aquarius, which is probably more comfortable because he's a fire energy in an air sign. So he was able to really burn bright and burn fast. Interestingly, though, while he was in Aquarius, Uranus was retrograde. So Uranus rules Aquarius, and it was not cooperating, and it was in his sign. So he was probably a little frustrated this time with his trip through Aquarius, and that lasted about a month. I think they're lasting right around a month. So anyway, he's in Pisces through, I believe, let me just look real quick here, the middle of January. No, late January. He'll go into Aries on the 29th of January. So we're going to get some real drive going to do business and cooperation more with things going our way for business and getting things done. If that's what you're looking to do, it's like, I just got to get it done. I got to get this done. End of January is going to be really good for that. Right now with Mars and Pisces, he's getting bogged down. He's getting bogged down energetically. He's not as alert. He's getting, well, he's only 1 degree. He's not even a full degree into the sign of Pisces. So he's still kind of getting used to it and starting to really feel it. I think in the next few days we'll feel it stronger. We're going to probably wind down. We may not be as energetic or even healthy because especially with the moon in Virgo, you may feel a little bit like under the weather because that's about health issues. It's an emotional thing. It really is. If you're under the weather, look to where your emotions are at because you're probably responding to emotional stimulus, and it's just saying, oh, I just need to process this. That's what Mars does in Pisces. He processes the emotion. He delves into, it's like basically going from being a runner to being a swimmer. And yes, it's still physical, but now you have to swim, and you have to swim through the emotion, and you have to swim through the sentimentality, and you have to find other ways of dealing with reality and behaviors of other people. And they're all going, whoa, what? You're going to be more distracted if you're out driving around. Mars, the actions you take may be more laid back, actually, because Pisces is like that. Neptune is also there. So Mars is now in the same sign as Neptune, and that brings us around to our Neptune topic today. So Mars is approaching Neptune, which is your dreams and your ideals. It's also thinking about things from the past, karma, karmic relationships, looking actually for an ideal relationship. We want to find that right someone, and that's what Neptune can do because Neptune is very much about, and it's a higher, more, I want to say magnanimous. I don't know if that's an accurate word, but that's the one that came to my head. It's a higher vibration, higher octave, like a louder version of Venus and her desires. So Venus is beauty and love, and Neptune is perfect beauty, like the ideal beauty and ideal love. So what's the name of that? Aleppo? No, I can't remember. There's something. I think I have I've got the chat room open. If you think of the name of that kind of love, it starts with an A, I think. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on. We do have the chat room open. I want to say hey to everyone in the chat room. Thank you for showing up. And I will answer your question, Aniva, in a minute. She asked about the Gemini health in 2017. So I'll get to that. Actually, next week's show may be a better show to listen to if you want to know what's going on in 2017, because I'm doing the 2017 show next week. And there probably won't, next week, won't be time for calls because it's just going to take the whole show to talk about it. And I'm going to break it down that way. So we'll go through half of the zodiac, the first half, and the other half, the second half. And so you can kind of get a good view of what's coming up for us next year. Okay, so that's all of astrology, and now Mr. Neptune. Okay, so Neptune rules Pisces, as I've just said. And so when I talk about the mythology of all these planets, I'm talking so that you get a better idea of kind of where the imagery and the stereotype and archetype of that sign comes from. Now, it's not always just that, Neptune, the information I have about Neptune isn't all of the qualities that we assign to the planet, which are also qualities that have been observed over years and years of astrology, thousands of years of astrology. But it is the initial idea of that energy as it was assigned to the planet. So anyway, Neptune, he was... Oh, wait a minute. I'll start over here. I'm sorry. I was on the second page of Neptune and not the first. So get back a page. Okay, so Neptune is the Roman god of fresh water and the sea, and he was known as Neptunus. His brother was, he had multiple siblings, so I'll tell you a few here. He was brother to Jupiter and Pluto, and the three of them, and again, in mythology we've been finding that so they have a triad usually. And so his triad was with Jupiter and Pluto, and they presided over the underworld, which I'm guessing was Pluto, and then he was probably Earth. I don't know. They didn't say specifically, but the earthly world, heaven or air, and then the underworld. And I know Pluto was the underworld, so Jupiter probably was heaven, and then that would make Neptune the earthly world. And I apologize. I've got to grab a sip of water here because otherwise I'm going to have a coughing attack. Hang on one second. Oh, my goodness. I have been having this issue for the last couple of weeks where I just get a tickle in my throat. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So Neptune had a consort, and that was Salacia, Salacia, and she was the goddess of the sea. So obviously her name is associated with salt. And she was very reverent. So he was interested in her. She was a nymph of the sea, and Neptune was interested in her as a partner. But she was so kind of taken aback by his position as a god and his authority. Now, she was also of the sea. Her world was the ocean. And so anyway, she felt so reverent of him and his stature that she hid in the ocean. She hid in the Atlantic Ocean. I found that really interesting. That was the Atlantic. And anyway, so he sent a dolphin to find her in the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. And when the dolphin did, she came back and married Neptune. And for his efforts, the dolphin was given a place in the heavens, which is the constellation Delphinius. So I thought that was really beautiful, a beautiful story. And so Salacia was a nymph, and she was beautiful. She was crowned with seaweed, and the two together were in a pearl-shelled chariot drawn by dolphins, seahorses, and other oceanic creatures. Neptune is depicted usually with a very big full beard and muscles and a trident, which I believe represents his power over the ocean. He also had other siblings, and his parents were Saturn and Ops, and his other siblings were Juno, Ceres, and Vesta. And then with Salacia, which was considered one of the most celebrated children of the two of them, and he was half man and half fish. So I guess that was a merman. He may have been the original merman. Who knows? And in Greek, his name was Poseidon. There were a couple of festivals that are associated with Neptune. One is Neptunalia, and the other is Lectisternium. And hang on, I think I wrote a little bit about that. So Neptunalia is a festival around July 23rd, and it also, obviously, it was about water. And since that's one of the hottest days of the year, well, at least in our hemisphere, yeah, it was around water and having water. So let's see what else. So before he was associated with the seas, though, Neptune was associated with freshwater springs. So there's also a connection of Neptune to having fresh water. And I wanted to interject this point because I found it really interesting. I have Neptune in my first house, and I also have Saturn in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. So I have really strong Pisces/Neptune energy in my chart. And I moved into this house, and the one issue I've had the whole time is clean water. It just is not clean, so I just had to give you that aside. So definitely fresh water is under the rulership of Neptune. And that's astrology as well. Now, epithets. So epithets, as we've learned through our series, are other names for the gods. And usually they're connected with another ending name that associates them. So Tunis Equester, Equester. So ruler over horse racing and the god of horses, which I found really interesting. And I find it also interesting because Neptune's a co-ruler, I think traditional ruler of Sagittarius, and that is the sign of horses. So, and then also he had a brother who was Jupiter, so there you go, horse racing connection. And I also had a really strong connection to horses growing up, so there's another Neptune connection. Let's see. Okay, so he worked with Minerva to make the chariot, according to mythology. So that was really interesting. And let's see, what else do we have? We're coming to the end. He had a temple, and he only had one temple. I guess there were different gods in ancient Roman mythology, and they would have multiple temples, like Athena, she had many. But he only had one, and his was the Circus Flaminus, which is actually, circus is round, so it was like a racetrack. And so that, again, is associated with the horse connection. He's also associated with fertility, surprise, surprise. And for him, his power was fertilizing through rain. So once again, always about the water. Anyway, there we go. So it's 11:32, and I'm going to take a quick break and go get a cough drop, and then we're going to come back and take calls. And I do want you to hit the number 1 on your keypad if you want a reading, because we got a few people listening, but they're not all raising their hands. But I want to try and get to you all today, so let me know you want a reading, and we'll be right back. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com.
You and Jupiter conspire to get me. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. 'Cause now I'm shining bright.
Oh, I just love that song. If you never heard it, that's Bright by Echo Smith. I just love that. It's such a cute song. And it talks about astrology. Yay. Okay, my name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm still having for 4 more days a discount on astrology readings. A full astrology reading is 15% off, which is about $20. So if you're interested in buying one of those for a friend or for yourself for Christmas, You've got 4 days, and it's already up there. So you just go to astrologerangel.com, and you can find the link right there. And also check out astrologerangel.com. I've got articles. I've got horoscopes. I'm going to be working on the new horoscopes coming up in the next few days, and we'll have those up by the beginning of the year. I'll probably have the yearly breakdown also. I'm going to try and combine, writing it out and, doing the show, the podcast with it. So that should be all the background work should be done by the beginning of the year. And let's see. Oh, yeah, YouTube. If you've missed the show and you just like YouTube, I have a channel on YouTube. You can just type in, I believe it is Artful Shelley. Or you can even type in AstroEnergy because I title the shows with the title of this show, and that should come up there too. And I'm trying to be good about getting all those up. And also I have a little vlog that I do for my art and things on the same channel. So check out YouTube. And yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm on Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Instagram and Facebook. So definitely check all me out in those different locations. So let's take our first caller. So we have 828. If my computer will catch up. There we go. 828, hi, how are you?
Hi, Shelley. It's Danielle. How are you?
Hi, Danielle. I'm good. What can I do for you today?
Well, I mentioned before I'm waiting on that money from my friend Steve for business startup.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't received it yet, and he wants me to do my business plan first and itemize what the money's going to be used for. And
Mercury and Capricorn retrograde in your house of work.
And I've been trying to work part-time as a teacher's aide and to make extra money for myself until I can get my business started. I'm having a lot of issues with people's cologne and perfume, and every time I go outside, I'm like around people, it's making me sick. And is there any other? What do you see for?
Okay. Well, first off, Venus is in Aquarius, and the air signs can definitely have a sensitivity to air and respiration issues. And so with Venus in Aquarius right now, that's not surprising. Venus will go into Pisces, but Pisces is also a very intuitive sign and tends to be more sensitive to everything, not just smoke and perfume and things like that. So probably the next couple months are going to be a little bit more heightened with that. And as far as to go in, like literally when Mars gets to 6 degrees, it'll be in your house of money from others. So that will be more helpful. Tell me again who you're trying to get money from. What is that? Is that a work thing or what is that?
It's a long story, but my friend Steve, I have his birth info.
What was that?
I have his birth info.
Actually, I'm not going to take it today only because we have a few more people waiting in line, and I'm going to try and keep it fairly brief because I've got a lot of people waiting. So you can just tell me his sun sign. What's his sun sign?
He's a Scorpio.
Okay. So that's good because
his sun is conjunct my moon.
Okay, well, Scorpio rules the 8th house, and Mars is about to go into the 8th house, and not only that, when it gets there, it's going to be conjunct the transiting Neptune, and that's money from others, and Mars is taking the action. So let me see. There's something, it's also hidden because it's Pisces, and something from the past. So there's definitely a karmic energy associated with this transaction, but it happens on the 28th of December. Mars actually gets to the house of joint finances, so that should give you a boost to money from others. And on top of the fact that by January 1st, let me just look into January here. Yeah, January 1st, Mars is at 9 degrees Pisces, which is exactly on Neptune, so it's conjuncting Neptune, and that means the ideal situation and cooperation. So, and it could also mean you go to the horse track and bet on the horses because it's all that Neptune Pisces energy. You never know. But yeah, and you've got Jupiter coming up on your Pluto also within a couple degrees of your Pluto, and it'll be there the whole month of January. January looks really good for you, the first 2 weeks especially. And we have Venus going into Pisces also, which is Venus rules money going into your house of joint finances. So that'll be really good for you too. So I'm thinking the beginning of next year is probably where the money's at for you.
Because the universe in my chart wants me to be independent. They want me to make money for myself. And every time I leave my house to try to go make money at like a part-time job, I get poisoned.
Well, that would be Pisces.
And getting a part-time job anywhere, it's going to be the same thing. The Airwick plug-ins, people's colognes, that I can smell people's fabric softener on them, their laundry soap, all of it.
In a pragmatic way. And one is that you're sensitive to these things, so your body is telling you something, and maybe you could look into going to an allergist. And one way is to just remove yourself, obviously, and that's, really the path of least resistance would be the one to do. But if you're really looking to deal with it, really when we get allergies, and I have allergies, believe me, I have a cat allergy, and guess what? The cat came to my life, and now I have a cat. So, I had a cat for 18 years growing up, and I was allergic every minute of the time I was with it, and now I have another one. And the universe has a funny way of putting us in position to look at the things that we need to change. And if you go out and you have these allergies, we're very sensitive. People who are a lot of water sign, you have 4 planets in water, you're going to be sensitive. And then you also have Saturn in Libra, which is an air sign. The air signs with Saturn have more respiratory issues. You have Mercury in the house of health, which again rules Gemini and air energy. So, you either can avoid the things that make you allergic because you're never going to change the rest of the world. And quite honestly, we can only change ourselves. And if it's you reacting to everybody, you can't rid the world of allergens. So obviously you have a reaction. So I know money's tight, but there are other, like you could do some hypnosis online and, look at YouTube and see if there's some allergy hypnosis tapes you can do. You can do some tapping, which is emergency, that's so funny. Emotional freedom technique, and do some tapping to reduce your allergies. But, it's really kind of a double-edged sword because the allergies come out more pronounced when you get more sensitive to things, when you're doing, spiritual work and you're fine-tuning your vibration. You're more sensitive to things that are out of alignment. But at the same time, you have to live in the physical world. So there can also be subliminal issues that are connected to that. Like with me, my mother was never thrilled to have pets. We never had pets as a young child, so I didn't develop the immunity. But at the same time, there could be some psychological or belief system issues for me where it's like, maybe I have a guilt over caring for animals because my mom didn't like it. I don't know. It's just pop psychology probably. But the bottom line is you are ultimately responsible for your perception of the world and how you interpret vibration. And if those are the vibrations you're getting, then you have to own that. And that's what Pisces energy is going to have to do. It a lot of times just wants everybody to cooperate and everything to go easily and smoothly. But if you're having issues, then you have to address it. So I would look to the EFT. I would look to hypnosis or go to an allergist or I'm going to do some Chinese medicine and herbalism and some acupuncture to try and get with my allergy problems. So, and, I think in January the money will be there.
Okay. Well, thanks, Shelley.
Try and be positive because you'll resonate to more positive things when you have a positive outlook. And when you focus on what isn't right, you increase how often you attract that. It's the same idea as when you go out in public and you go, oh, I just got a new car, and look at that. Everybody has this car. I never noticed that before. As soon as you start focusing on it, you expand it. So you don't want to do that. So try and find things that are more positive and do what you can. That's the best you can do is, own the responsibility for your environment and you and your reactions, responsibility, and then try and keep a positive outlook. So I wish you the best. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to you. Okay?
Thank you, Shelley. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye, Danielle.
Bye.
Okay, let's see who we have here. 651. Hi, 651. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. It's Linda.
Hi, Linda. Let me find out. I gotta look for you.
I've been
There you are.
down with the
Gotcha.
flu for a couple of weeks. I'm starting to get up. Like I still have some respiratory stuff going on, so it's interesting that you mentioned that about air signs having respiratory issues.
Yep.
And for Danielle too, I'm hypersensitive to chemical scents, really, and
yeah, same.
I spoke to an autoimmune person, and he said to look at liver detox.
That's really great, and that's a second. Yeah, I've been getting that message too. I agree.
Liver detox, and he said there's a product online called Clear Change, which I haven't investigated yet. But he said, that level of sensitivity is liver congestion. So,
interesting.
And as for me, boy, I'd sure like to ask where the money is too. But generally, I'm like, what's popping up in my chart, anything particular for the end of the year that's helpful to be aware of.
Okay, well, by the end of the year, so Uranus is the biggest story as far as I'm concerned. Uranus going direct the end of the year.
Okay.
And that is literally just over into your third house. You have 19 degrees of Aries at the cusp of your third, and Uranus is a 20. So it's right there into your third, and it's retrograde right now. So it was trying to get back into the second. No, doesn't want to do it. Once it goes direct, for you, it's either about journaling, writing, anything that would express yourself and get it out there through words, because Uranus, I don't talk about it much, but Uranus is a very chatty fellow. It's the Mercury energy on steroids. So they have ideas and then they want to talk about them. Let me tell you all about this idea. Just really conversant. And that can also be anything on podcasting, YouTube, like any kind of electronic transcription, or like anything to get it out of your body, because you're going to have Uranus in that house for a decade, and it's just gone in. So your lesson now is to create a business through writing, through communicating of some means, podcasting, radio, any of that. But of course, it's the end of the year. It's entrepreneurship. And it's getting it out there. So you want to get your word out to the public. That's where you're at. And then money, I know you got something to say. Hang on a second. Money's coming to you also with the Pisces energy. But that happens after 11 degrees of Pisces, because Mars is moving into your house of money, which is the opposite of the joint finances. It's the second house. And so that's coming up when when Mars gets to 11. On top of that, Neptune will be very close as well, and Neptune gets to 11 degrees by the end of next year. Actually, he'll be there twice. He's going forward. He just went direct last month, so he's moving forward really, sluggishly, as he always does. He's a very slow sign, slow planet. He'll get to 11 degrees. Let's see, 11 degrees in 3 minutes. He will be there, and write this date down, the day before Valentine's Day on February 13th. And so February 13th is when Neptune goes into your house of money. So he's asking you, what is your ideal means of earning income? And for you, part of it, half of it, is through intuitive understanding and allowing money to come to you. And that's really your power. I want to say it's your superpower, is allowing. And then the other half is taking the action. The first half you have to visualize, and the second half you take the action, because the second half of your house of money is Aries, and that wants to do something. So guess what? Mars, the ruler of half of your house of money, is in Pisces. So for you, it's going to be about getting to 11 with Neptune, which is February, but Mars gets to 11 on the 3rd of January, and he'll be there for a couple days. So January looks pretty good for you as well, because Mars, you're going to be able to take action. And as far as what kind of action, initially, if you can do something intuitive, do something metaphysical, or photography is good, or creative and artsy. If you're an artist, any of those are really good for earning money coming up.
Well, okay, so 2 questions come to mind. Am I clear of the Chiron wounded healer thing, and what? I can't seem to get the writing out. I can't
you can't get the writing out now because Uranus is retrograde, and he's been retrograde for 4 or 5 months.
So don't worry about it right now.
But when he goes direct, it's going to be, let's get this done.
Flow.
And when Mars gets there, oh heck yeah. Mars will
Okay.
get there 19 degrees of Aries, which is 23rd of February. It's going to be ramping up for you. I mean, yes, Jupiter will go retrograde at some point in February, but, that's more about learning and education. There will be an opposition. Let's see. I guess he's going to oppose Uranus for a little while, but Uranus will be direct. So the energy right now is on Jupiter. When Uranus goes direct and Jupiter goes retrograde, the energy shifts to Uranus, which is taking action. It is entrepreneurship. It is autonomy. It's doing your own thing. It's getting it done. It's in Aries. It's about getting the work done and expressing those ideas as quickly as you can. By the time Mars gets to catch up with Uranus, you're not going to be able to stop. Trust me. It'll be like bam, bam,
All
bam,
right.
bam. Yeah, coming up on Valentine's Day. That's your time.
Okay. Kind of what I'm looking at, too. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Bless
have
you.
a great week and have a great holiday season and New Year's.
Yes, you
You're
too.
welcome. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
You too.
Okay, let's try 863. Hi, 863. How are you?
Hi, doing great. How are you?
Good. Who is this?
This is Julia.
Hi, Julia. So
Hello.
what can I do for you today?
Well, I was curious about basically love and money.
Oh, okay.
Curious if there's going to be, that special someone coming into my life, and also I'm wanting to, I'm wanting to get myself out there looking for work. So
sure, yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
we're both into the scales there.
Yes. Okay, well, the end of 2017 seems to be really good for you for love and money. You have Saturn in Capricorn, so you kind of understand that responsibility. And, again, Saturn in Capricorn, it's a difficult placement because this is what happens. Capricorn is so concerned about not having money that it can be very frugal, and it kind of is a fearful energy around things, so it operates through fear. So that's the motivator with Capricorn, right?
Yes,
and
I've experienced that. Yep.
Yeah, Saturn
that
comes
pattern,
into
yes.
Yeah, Saturn goes to Capricorn the 22nd of December in 2017. So at that point, you're going to start to experience the energy that you have in your natal chart. It is really like whatever you've done in your life. I mean, I find most people tend to gravitate towards what their Saturn is naturally. It's about being responsible, probably more pragmatic, more corporate, more in charge of things. That's the responsible person, so they usually end up being the boss. And it's a material sign, so you're much more about corporate America or having a company that gives you a regular paycheck than you are about doing it for yourself necessarily. That being said, you're about to hit Uranus going in your house of work, which means doing it for yourself, and you're going to have it there for, like I said, about 8 to 10 years. So it's really about learning how to do for yourself and doing your own thing. That being said, Saturn's going into your house of money, which what it does, I mean, this is like an overall picture, and then I'll tell you more specifically. But the overall picture is as Saturn moves in, and Saturn's going to go in really quickly, 22 degrees. Let me see. He'll go in January, the beginning of January, 22, and you have 11 minutes, and that will be the 9th of January. So what Saturn's done for you the last 2.5 years is he's really shored up who you are and what you want as a person, and he's probably restricted you in some fashion about who you are. So he's covered a lot of territory. He's gone through all of the emotional depths of Scorpio. He hit your moon, and now he's at the end degrees of your first house. So you're actually going to be able to express who you are more because he's going in as a Sagittarian. So while he goes in, it's more about earning money. Well, it's also Jupiter. So as much as I want to say that there's a lot of money coming your way, I think you're going to have more concern for money for a little while. Let me look and see. Yeah, because Saturn in the house of money, just it makes you much more aware of where you spend money, what you're doing with money, and for you with Saturn and Sagittarius, it's about talking to people of other cultures and foreign places. So you might do better going somewhere farther away if you're able to move or travel for your job. That could be a really positive thing through the end to the end of the year. I think that's when I said Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter goes into Capricorn in December. So, your chart wants you to be more adventurous to earn your money or incorporate things with foreigners, foreign affairs, teaching. Do you do teaching?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay, well, there's definitely some learning and education aspects in your chart with that. And families, there seems to be some more opportunity to make money through family connections. Let's see, your Venus is in Leo. You have a lot of fortune around risk-taking or gambling. That's what Leo is, gambling. And Venus in Leo takes more risks, and you definitely want some attention around education. I think the cooperation for you is around children and education. Do you have any interest in teaching children?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's some energy there in your chart. And the other side of it is you have Saturn in the house of money. So for you, I would say even the financial world would be really good for you. Saturn in the second house is finances, auditing. You also have Jupiter in the third house in Capricorn. So it's about communication and education, money, finances, the elderly. Do any of those resonate?
I'm really just trying to stay open to kind of whatever the universe brings in. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel like I'm in like the second part of my life, and I'm kind of wanting to try
you're just wanting to
expand and open and be, open to whatever. So
okay.
I don't know.
Well,
that
the
doesn't
things
sound
that are
too
coming.
flighty, but
No. You've got Pluto approaching your Saturn within about 7 degrees of your Saturn. I see your Saturn's at 23, and your natal Saturn's at 23, and you're going to have a Saturn return in January. So Saturn will be at that degree the third week between the 16th and 16th and 25th of January. You'll be. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Pluto. I'm getting confused. I apologize. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You have natal Saturn in Capricorn. Pluto's on your natal Saturn, and Saturn in the sky is transiting into that same house. So everything's there, and I got a little confused. Hang on a second. Yeah, it's going to be a couple years before you're having Pluto on your Saturn, but you're starting to feel. So you're really wanting to look at where you're restricting yourself and where you're restricting yourself through fear as it relates to money. Okay? That's really, honestly, the task you're going to have for probably the next 5 years. That's what you have to do. But there's some new stuff coming in for you. And right now, money can come from communication and from the internet. If you looked on the internet to help you, you could do some writing. I mean, I'm not really sure what your skill set is, but you could do some writing if you're interested in it. You've got Mercury and Mars in Libra, and I think you've got a writer in you, quite honestly. Have you thought of writing?
I'm open to that, but I don't really know what I would write about. But
whatever interests you.
Yeah.
Crafts or photography or family life, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're naturally attracted to.
Okay.
So, anyway, I think next year you're moving into kind of a strong couple months around family issues, family, like the emotions associated with family and karma, and really kind of, I want to say, immersion. It's like an immersive time, like you're right down in the family issues. You are about to move in. Actually, if you're not in a romantic relationship, there could be something coming in unexpected in the new year too. So, and definitely hang out with friends and find people that you share interests with, because that's really strong for finding a potential partner. Okay?
Oh, good. I'm definitely, I want to find love, not just,
I know.
somebody
Let it
right
find
now.
you. That's the best way. Let love find you. I think you've got some opportunities for love coming in too. But definitely look into writing. I think that your chart, Mercury in Libra is definitely about writing, and then you also have Venus transiting the house of communication, which is also the writer's house. And you have Jupiter there in Capricorn, so you might be surprised. Something in publishing, something in writing. Okay?
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. Have a happy
All
New
right.
Year.
Have
Merry
a
Christmas.
great holiday.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
You too.
Didn't mean
Bye-bye.
to talk over you. Bye-bye.
No, it's okay. You called in for a reason. I wanted to give you your reading. All right. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to take one last call because we have a lot of people waiting. So 313, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, who's this?
Can you hear me? My name is Vaughn.
Is this Robert? Oh, Vaughn.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
I'm great and great. How about yourself?
Good. You've been missing in action for a while.
Yes, I have. Living the adventure. That is my life.
Awesome. Well, what can I do for you today, my last caller?
Just real quick. I've been thinking about karma, really, and anything karmic and money.
Okay. Creativity. Everything karmic and money is Pisces, Neptune in your house of creativity and children. And Venus will be there pretty soon too, which Venus is the money part. So she's going into Pisces. When did she go into Pisces? Hang on. December, Venus, Aquarius. January. January what? January 3rd, between 3rd and 4th. So, yeah, right at the beginning of the new year, Venus will be in Pisces. She'll be in there with Mars and Neptune in your house of creativity, romance, and children. So that means how are you? And also it's leadership. It's the Leo house. So it's leadership. It's risk-taking. It's drama. So acting. It could be any of those. It could be acting. It could be art. It could be things to do with children. Any means of kind of being creative and larger than life, playful, fun, joyful, all of that. And especially in Pisces, that's the artist. So what are you doing artistically?
Writing.
Okay. Well, awesome. That's a great. Are you writing movies?
No, not yet. That was actually part of. Huh?
You better get going on it. Neptune and Pisces is all about movies.
Oh, wow. That's what that was about then, huh? Okay. I understand that. I can understand that.
Awesome.
Really.
And you have Mercury in Libra, which is beauty and aesthetics, in the 12th house of Pisces, which is movies. So, and it's also writing. Wow. Libra is about writing, and Mercury is about communication. So I'm thinking you need to write movies.
Yeah, actually I started that about a year ago. I wrote that down, and some things unfolded, and I've been kind of scrambled when I say I was living, the adventure that is my life.
Yeah.
Some other stuff, I'm doing two types of writing. I'm actually doing freelance writing online.
Awesome.
Actually teaching me something about, optimization and stuff like that. But that was just to get money because I'm writing fiction and nonfiction for something else. But that was my fiction was to actually be go towards maybe to be adapted for like screen and TV, things of this nature. I actually wrote that down a little bit over a year ago.
Well, you better
get it
back out of mothballs.
Actually unfolded like that. But
well, you've got Saturn going in.
Go
ahead. I was just going
to
say
like
Saturn.
Past year.
Go ahead. I'm going to stop. Go ahead.
It seems like this past year has been all about putting me in position to receive those things which I endeavor to. It seems like something has been like needs to be worked out, like something in the neighborhood of like what you were telling a couple of the guest callers who called in before me. It seemed that it just, I mean, I don't know if you called some of the stuff up when I first started calling in earlier this year. It's like, it's just incredible to be happening. But then again, I knew it was something. It wasn't too stressful. I just needed to work some stuff out, get focused.
Well, your chart definitely shows stuff going on. Saturn is going into your house of communications, and that's where the writer is. And you've already got Pluto transiting through there. Mercury is there. Sun is going into Capricorn. He's already in your house of communications. And then Saturn goes in, and that would probably also mean you may have to get a new car, but that's in January. So, yeah, January 20th is when Saturn actually crosses that threshold and gets into your house of communications. So I would write that day down. Yeah, and Sun will be in Aquarius, so you're going to have some stuff going on around home and family, expansion there, attention to family. You already have it now. Venus is with. It's really interesting this time of year. You know, I say, well, you're going to be traveling to be with family, and guess what? It's the holidays. Of course you are, but yeah, you have Venus around home and family, so there's more connection to family right now. But January 20th, Saturn will be in your house of communications, and that's the universe saying, okay, there's some travel involved, and, you know, who knows, you might want to take a trip out to California or something. What?
Okay.
Why do you say it like that?
No, that's really weird. My son's birthday is January 22nd.
Oh, okay.
His mom is in California, but I'm like, why am I going out there?
Oh, my gosh. So the other thing I want to tell you, though, is Jupiter is 1 degree away from going into your first house for the next year. So that's a really fortunate thing. Actually, be there a little more than a year. Let me see. Yeah, because it's going to retrograde, and you have 20 Libra through 21 Scorpio in your first house. And let me see, I don't know if you'll get to 21 Scorpio by then. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have them in your house for over a year in your first house. So that's an expansion of self-awareness and connection to what kind of partner you are, what kind of partner you want.
Right.
But, yeah, okay. Jupiter in the first house is much better than Jupiter in the 12th. Well, at least theoretically, because like I was saying, Jupiter is connected to, well, no, never mind. It was something else. My mind is cross-referencing in the wrong way. Jupiter is expansion of wherever it's at. When it goes in the 12th, it's expanding the subconscious, the dream life, the ideals, the wishes. Goes into the first house, it gets to tap into the Mars energy. Now he's going to get some legs. Now you're going to be fortunate. Now you're probably going to find someone. You're going to be Jupiter and Libra in the first house is going to be, you're going to be really attractive to women. You're going to be really attractive to everybody because it's Libra, and Jupiter is saying, hey, beauty. Here's somebody who's like just exuding this charisma and charm. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. They're very charming people. So you're going to have a lot of attention in the next year. So good for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
It's really a fortunate time. So.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. We sound very relaxed. You sound healthy and happy. I hope you are.
I am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Same to you. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I'm glad I took one extra call and got to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure I'll talk to you in the new year. So have a safe and healthy holiday. And, take care. Say hi to your family for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bye, Vaughn.
Bye-bye.
And that's the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you again soon. I'll be back next week with the breakdown of 2017. Take care. Have a safe and happy holiday. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at Ironwood